social calc basically is it interlinks spreadsheets, distributed spreadsheets, and allows updating of distributed and dynamic spreadsheets extremely easy, and it makes it more manageable. So for example, a use case for this application would be a sales department, for example, which does a lot of work on spreadsheets. Say the sales reps are updating their numbers in their own spreadsheet, which kind of rolls up to their manager, which then rolls up to the vice president of that region. What happens is if a sales representative changes one of the cells in one of the spreadsheets, Social Calc basically will update all the corresponding interlinked spreadsheets. So that way it reduces the errors, and it also reduces the manageability of the spreadsheet applications. For a seamless multi-channel integration perspective, it provides an optimized mobile interface. The beta version also supports a variety of mobile devices like BlackBerry, iPhone, and Android devices. It's fully SaaS capable. The big sell here is that it drives down the total cost of ownership, because companies do not have to spend on infrastructure setup to host social text in-house. So that is a big plus for social text. And with that, I will hand it over to Allah.
Now, as per the methodology for our recommendation, what we figured out that there are some gaps in Moodle, and how it has really evolved as a problem statement, like we need to see that how can we reduce the gap between what current version and what should be the next versions which we recommend. So we would like to have a phased approach to go into the next level of enhancement. And what we saw here as a root cause analysis, since it is open source software which comes by community-based development, it lacks of user content currently available and time for it to develop. So obviously the community need to look at from the community. So we as community from NDMU are now giving the feedback to the community how that community can enhance some of the important features which is required for institutions like NDMU. So those could be taken as a phased approach. And if they wanted to expand into the wider enterprise scale, then they could go to different options like project management capabilities like workplace, tasks, and so on. But the most important part of what we found is to have the initial ease of use or the usability. When we look at the usability, it has to have the dashboard capability for making the user much more easier to access information when they come onto Moodle, and then they could be navigated where they wanted to go, whether they wanted to create a workspace, whether they wanted to launch conferencing for the web meeting, or they wanted to have voice conferencing, or what. And then based on that, it could pull in all the widgets to help the users to build on that. So based on those, we are trying to educate the community of Moodle that what is required today in terms of three broader heads. So in the space of usability, then we come to the communication, and then we look at the social networking part of it. And on the three broader heads, what we have done, we have recommended the best possible options which could be taken in the next phase, Moodle 2.0. With that, I will probably give to Sonali again to define the process flow which we are working on.
Thank you, Allah. So for our project Moodle 2.0, this is the process flow that we all followed as a team. To start with, in the project initiation phase, the first step there was the enhancements identification discussion with the sponsor, who's Dr. Rod in this case. Based on those discussions, we came up with a deliverable, which was the enhancement scope document. We went to the sponsor for approval of that document. After getting approval, we proceeded into the project planning phase. At that point, if we hadn't gotten approval, the process was to go back to the sponsor again and receive that approval. But in our case, we did get approval. We moved forward into the project planning phase. The first step there was to discuss the functional requirements. And once the functional requirements were discussed and formulated, we formed the project team, assigned roles and responsibilities, started brainstorming the project charter, goals, and objectives. We all went back and did our own research with the different tools that are out there in the marketplace today. All that came kind of boiled down into came down into the enhancement scope document that we're gonna recommend for Moodle. That was, we kind of came up with a project plan internally on who's gonna evaluate what and how the information is gonna funnel into funnel through this project. We went to the sponsor again for approval and moved forward into the project execution. In the project execution phase, the first step there is to do the final project presentation, which is currently in progress. This is our forum to communicate to the our project status through our stakeholders. And then at the end of that communication will be the project closing phase. Then we will verify the acceptance of our project deliverable with Dr. Rod, and also have a lessons learned, a feedback session towards the end, and then a sign off before we head into project closure. With that,
Yeah. Thanks, Ron. And now we are pleased to really recommend what are the enhancements required for Moodle 2.0. And we again, based on collective research on several tools, what we figured out that there are three major heads on which we recommend some enhancement going forward as version 2.0. And if I look at on the top, which is providing ease of use or usability to users, I find that Moodle should start looking at building the dashboard capability, which should be able to launch various applications when the team goes in to start collaborating with the team. And the dashboard could be, again, as I mentioned earlier, it should have launching the workspace for the team workspace or personal workspace to launch the content, whether the document or any content. And then within that, it should offer the interfaces from where it could launch any kind of forum, or if web meeting or voice conferencing or what have you for the collaborative networks. Also, onboarding is a great thing which one has to look at it, building up how it should be easy for users to sign up and to get on to the use of those applications. And navigation, as we keep mentioning and seeing other tools, they're really guiding consistent look and feel and guiding the whole guided navigation to the users, by which users could go into from one user interface to another tool for making the whole real-time collaboration much fun, much easy, and much productive. And this part, the second part which I found in Moodle, communication, is severely lacking. I mean, today it's limited to the chat interface and it is very weak and inconsistent. Now we have to really look at how it could be incorporated with the voice conferencing and the web meeting conferencing. So these are the tools available which, with the open interface, Moodle could be able to incorporate and bring in within the Moodle environment. And not necessarily they have to build from the scratch, probably they need to just write some APIs and have some permissions to integrate those tools within Moodle environment. So that could be the thing which Moodle should look at it. And then again, for enhancing the communication, is to bring in all those capabilities in terms of the RSS feed, the blogs, and what have you, which we described, which is available in the other tools. When I look at it, in terms of content management and collaboration, it has got no content management capability today. It is limited to exposing the document into the space. Now we need to really look at how it could have the different methodology for repository management, the repository control, the versioning, and also capture, retrieval. Those are the things which we are looking at in the content management portfolio. And Moodle should seriously look at how that could use some of the out-of-the-box content management tool and the hosted environment. And several examples could be offered, either Oracle or Microsoft or other tools are available, which is hosted environment which Moodle could be able to leverage and then manage the whole content in the repository. So that provides the access in terms of the enterprise search capability. They could also leverage with some other tools like Google Search, and they could bring in those capabilities within Moodle. And then that could provide the rich access